Okay, so this is our 15th town hall. So like all the town halls before, the updates are just a recap of activities that happened last week, and plan is sort of the schedule for this week's events. So in terms of updates, I'll run through these pretty quickly, and if anybody wants to jump in, they can jump in and add stuff. So we funded all the squads through the DAO House framework. We transferred half of the grants, and then we'll transfer the rest on completion. So that's done. Actually, Richard, did you transfer JB's fund?
Not yet. I reached out, but I think JB had COVID.
Right. Okay.
So out of action for a bit.
Okay, fair enough. That's okay. So that's the only person I think we're missing funding. So that's that. And then we've released 2 tutorial videos, video series that Keaton has been doing. They're great, and I think there are more videos to come as well. It's in the editing process, and so we'll release them as soon as they're finished editing. In terms of developments, I think it was, yes, A.O.B has been working on an integration proof of concept to integrate Streamlit with Metamask. And so you'll essentially be able to monetize Hugging Face apps, if I'm correct, which is pretty cool. Obviously, it's a proof of concept, if you're saying, and he needs to tidy up implementation a little bit and make it easier for users to use it. So that's great. Then I've been writing the script, which is one of our deliverables as well for Ocean, of summoning the squads with our configuration. So managed to write the script and summon the DAO on Rinkeby, and doing it on Polygon is just switching the network configurations, and that should be that. And that's pretty much the only thing you need to do there. The only other thing as part of the summoning is to register the metadata on DAO House, and that I still need to work on automation. I'm looking at a workaround for it, because you can't interact directly with their metadata API, so gonna have to use like a headless browser to essentially automate the whole process. So I'm still working on that, but in terms of the contract call, it's pretty much automated, and I just need to like sort of make a CLI that interacts with whatever information we provide in order to summon the DAO. So that's that. Pods, we had storage pod, marketplace pod, tokenomics pod, and roadmap pod last week. I don't know, have you got any more progress on the storage and marketplace pod?
Yeah, so like the storage pod, I'm basically focusing on putting in that grant proposal to Filecoin. So it's very nearly finished, and people are starting to check over it. And so there's actually quite a few people on the proposal now, like for example, Nolid, this new guy Vedant that I met through the same project, me and Jakob, also Vintage wants to be on it as well. Maybe I might be missing someone, but anyway, yeah, like a few people have added their comments, which is great, but also like takes time to get everyone's comments in and stuff like that. We also thought it would be good to add start work on our app marketplace, or not app marketplace, but algorithm marketplace. So basically just fork Ocean protocol and maybe get some like public data sets working with us. So we need to like figure out what would be a good way to do public data sets on using like tokens and stuff like that. So I don't know, maybe there's some faucet where you can request free tokens for open source data sets or something like that, just to keep track of who is using data sets. This actually happens quite often in machine learning repos, where the data set is public, but you have to like reach out to the authors to request a password or something like that. And so it's kind of it would be a similar idea here. But yeah, we thought it would be good to include that, because the end result of the Filecoin grant as it stands would just be contributions to like open source software, which isn't as impressive as like having some sort of end product, which would be a marketplace, work towards the marketplace in this case.
And I would imagine actually in terms of the tokens, it could even be spinning up your own ERC20 token, which is pretty easy to do using OpenZeppelin. And then you can add to the contract that there's a particular minter, so somebody who can actually mint those tokens. And then the faucet essentially calls the mint method and sends the minted tokens to whoever signed the transaction or signed the sort of transaction on the faucet webpage. So it's a bit of work, but I think it's definitely doable in terms of issuing new tokens, and then those tokens being sent to the person who requested the funds in the faucet. And then that token is not going to have any economic value. It's just going to be like just to track provenance of who accessed the data set.
Yeah, exactly. And like Ocean has that functionality as well. You could mint it through OceanPi as well. But yeah, like just exploring all of this, what's the best way to do that and stuff would be really interesting to do during the Filecoin grant. So that's the storage pod. The marketplace pod, we met again and we were chatting about next steps. So we have a really cool Miro board on that, which people should check out. And I think the plan is just to map out some of the different components of the Ocean marketplace. For example, I think I mentioned before, we mapped out the smart contracts, but we didn't map out other parts that don't use smart contracts, like for example, the marketplace and stuff. So yeah, I think we're working on that. We're still very much in the planning stage there, and we haven't like moved towards proof of concepts really, apart from forking the marketplace itself, I guess. But yeah, that's going well, and I guess that ties in with the design pods that you started up. I don't know, maybe we should wait till.
Yeah, sure. We can wait till the plans on that. But yeah, we set up the design pod. Orientation. We're going to meet this week. So this week will be the first time we're going to meet on that. So and then we had the tokenomics pod and the roadmap pod. So I guess in the tokenomics pod, we ran some simulations on the active passive model that Jakub had been working on. And then we went into a little bit of discussion on how to use the tokenomics pod better, and what the end goal of the tokenomics pod is as well. So we chatted a little bit about that. In the roadmap pod, we were essentially making sure that all the milestones that we planned are in progress, or we're sort of working towards them, and the plan for Q2 is also in line with what we're progressing towards. We sort of said in conclusion that we need to focus a little bit more on the development, because we've been focusing a lot on organizing and orientating new community members, and now our focus should be shifted towards developing products and shipping products, which makes sense. And also looking at fundraising in a more as a more imminent or immediate priority. That's sort of the conclusion we got from the roadmap pod. So those are the pods that happened last week. Another thing that we set up was the Algovera headquarters on Gather.town. So Gather.town is sort of like this virtual office space that you can use, which is quite cool. And we thought it would be good to have some sort of an interaction or virtual space that the community can gather around. And maybe towards the end or after this town hall, we can just jump on it real quick and experiment with it, see if it's all working as we expect. And then one of the things that we've outlined in the plans is the Algovera Junto, which is just a kind of like a long-form conversation that we've chatted about last week, I think, in the last town hall, where we were saying it would be good to get kind of look at some concept or idea, discuss that further, and explore that idea a little bit more. And we thought for the first Junto, it would be good to discuss the data trust paper. I can send the links to people on Discord. Now we should put that into the Discord so that people know that the Junto is about this, and we can just come together and sort of discuss and explore the ideas in that paper and what we think of it. That's the Junto, and I think maybe we should also pick a day for that, because we haven't decided on a day. It would be probably good to decide on a day towards the end of the week, maybe Thursday or Friday. Do you think?
Sounds good. Yeah.
Which day might be better? I feel like Friday will be end of the week, and people might not be. People might be tired, and so maybe Thursday before the Tokenomics pod.
Yeah, that works for me.
That's sort of the time we do things, right? So yeah, maybe 5 or 6 on Thursday.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Maybe even like 4. I don't know what the earliest time for the US tends to be. It's that constant battle between the East and West.
Yeah.
In the middle.
Yeah, I think it's like 4 to 6 is like the best time for everyone. We kind of decided that was probably the best time for Asia and US and Europe. Okay, so that's the third item on the plan. And it's actually related to this is the Open Data Gov, which is item number 1 on the plan, which is an event that Near Protocol is hosting, right? And they invited us to do one of the workshops in this. So it's a hackathon that's happening in New York City, and it's also they also have a virtual hackathon event that's running parallel with it, I think. And we're asked to do a talk on that, right? And so we'll be preparing for that. And the data trust paper was one of the papers that is guiding the event, and so people will be familiar with the paper, and that's sort of the motivator for the hackathon. So it'd be good to have a good digest of the paper even before the event, and the Junto would be a really good way of sort of discussing that paper. So that would be good. And then the other thing is the releasing of the rest of the tutorials. So Gin has a couple of videos that is still remains to be published, which are the rest of the tutorials on the DAO house governance and how to transfer funds. And there's also a video going to be explaining the different tracks that we've built and documented. So there's going to be videos on that as well. So that those are going to be hopefully up this week as well, the remaining videos. Item number 4 is the investor updates. So we've been chatting to a few investors, and we thought it would be a good idea to give them an update on the progress that we've made so far since we last talked to them. And we'll send an email out to people that we were chatting to. And then number 5 is the focus on fundraising that we were chatting about in our roadmap, that we came to a conclusion that fundraising should be more of a priority. And so my plan is, Richard, to focus on fundraising this week and email as many investors and curate as many angel investors that we think would be good for the initiative. And we'll also send out the sort of seed collective that we've been chatting about, and send it out to people and gather more interest and crowdsource people who they think would be really good. So just for context, the seed collective we've been thinking about is just the best minds across the world who would be best suited to drive the initiative of decentralized or distributed AI. And we're getting people's opinions on who would be the best people to have on this collective, thinking and discussing about the possible problems of centralized AI and monopolized AI and data ownership and all these things. And we're just trying to get a group of people together that are experts across the world and discussing this problem. Such an initiative hasn't really been present or hasn't been done, and so we thought it would be a really good idea to bring a group of people together. And so we'll send it out to people, and I'll send it out to Archie as well, on how to on the different people that you think might be good to have on the collective. So we've filled up a number of people on the list, but we'll continue to build it up, and then we can reach out to these people and see if they're interested in joining. joining the collective initiative. Then the sixth item is the new pods that are going to be meeting for the first time this week. So the design pod will meet either Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. And we're just waiting on a common time that myself, Maria, and our pit are free on. And then we'll do the first meeting. Then. And then I think the privacy group is meeting Friday at 10, right?
Can't remember actually.
I think so, yeah.
Did I? Oh yeah, it's in the calendar there now. Yeah, 10 on Friday.
And that's the first meeting for the privacy group as well. So I think it'll be good to have those pods up. And I think Keaton will also be leading a reputation pod this week as well. So he's going to be putting that into the Discord pretty soon. The reputation pod essentially is to, I'd say the goal is to measure the contributions and value provided by different community members, and how can we quantify that in a way that is understandable for people, so that they recognize the people within the community that provide really good value, and maybe we can use that system to make governance decisions, etc. in the future, and maybe even retroactively reward people through some sort of monetary mechanism. And so that's another pod that's happening this week. Lastly on the plan is the OceanDAO round 5. So we need to put in a proposal for the round, not round 5, round 15. So we need to put in a proposal for that, and just make sure we have all the deliverables done for round 14 before we submit for round 15. And so if anybody is holding Ocean tokens, I'd encourage you to, let's say, vote and vote for us on this round's proposal. And since they've done quadratic funding, even if you have a small amount, it will contribute to a large degree if there is a number of people voting for Algovera. And also, if you verify your ID using Bright ID, you get 4x the voting power. So there's a couple of things that can be done to leverage your voting power.
Yeah. And if you want, you can now delegate your tokens to someone else. So if you're in the Algovera community and you trust us with your votes, you can delegate to our wallet, I suppose. And that means we're going to set up the Bright IDs. We get the multiple of voting and stuff. So if you don't want to do all of that, then you can delegate to us instead.
I actually don't know how the delegation of voting works. It's probably like you still hold the tokens, but your voting power is delegated to someone else, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of DAOs are moving to this because people just don't have the time to keep up with 5 different DAOs that they're a part of and stuff. And so this is how democracy works. You delegate your votes to someone that you trust, I suppose. And so, I think the idea is to just get more voter turnout, because I think the amount of tokens that actually vote, even in Ocean especially, is absolutely tiny. I think we're talking maybe 100 wallets, maybe 150 wallets. But if you think how many people actually hold Ocean tokens, that's a very, very small percentage. And so the idea here is to increase the representation.
Yeah. So I think it is a good idea. And it's also I don't think everyone has the bandwidth, like you were saying, to vote on each decision. It means it's a more open democracy than that's currently in place in some number of democratic countries, because it's all open, right? You can view everything on the blockchain. So
yeah, exactly. And I mean, there's so much to keep up with in terms of different proposals and stuff like that. I think there were 40 proposals last round, so all 40 of those, every person is just impossible. And so how I see it working in future is you have these different unions. So we're kind of like an AI union, right? And so we're kind of fighting for the rights of data scientists, machine learning engineers and stuff. And so it's almost like a political party in an election or something. If you trust our values and that will try to look after data scientists, machine learning engineers, then Algovera could, get lots of delegation from from stakeholders like that. So, and then maybe you have like data unions who are, fighting for the rights of the data providers and stuff. And so, yeah, it'd be really cool to see how it evolves in the next like few decades or something like that.
And you can also imagine how like the reputation pod might play into this. So people, if the reputation pod is reputation system is set up in a very open, transparent, and a way that the community trusts it. It could mean that people with a higher reputation get delegated more votes on particular things because they trust that person provides value to the community and at a whole, and they have a reputation of providing value. And so for someone who has Ocean tokens but don't know people personally, they might delegate the votes to people that have a higher reputation. So it'd be interesting to find out how these different things play into each other and how they'll have properties that we haven't yet imagined and implemented.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I hope that they stop changing things as much. It's quite easy to keep up with round by round, like just getting up to speed, whether it's Bright ID, delegation, like they're bringing in the gardens soon as well, the One Hive gardens and stuff. So there's a non-insignificant amount of work to do to just like enter every OceanDAO round. So
yeah, this is why I think, especially when we're thinking about orientation for our community members, something like tracks is really useful, and trying to organize information in a way that doesn't overload people in the community. And it should be a process that the people in the community come along with as we're building different aspects. If we just dump a lot of information on all the different ideas that we have, they're just going to get confused. And it's just the same for anyone. Like, you don't want too much information at one time, so we need to disseminate the information in a way that is absorbable for people. And I think that's generally a good way of building the community and building out the different aspects of the community, is to do it that way rather than we can experiment all we want, to just be clear on what we're communicating with the general public or like the community at large. Cool. Should we have a quick look at the Algovera headquarters? Let me see if I can get a link.
I was going to ask Archie, I don't know if he wants to give a quick update about the freelance work with the medical image classification. I'm putting you on the spot again, Archie.
No problem. Yeah. So what we have done is we have, of course, run through the sample data set and came up with an algorithm that was published to Ocean. So that's done. So next is for us to get permission from Insight or Alonso to run our algorithm on their data set. So we'll be doing that next. So the first experiment will be quite a basic one, where we'll be using FastAI to basically run a pre-trained ResNet34 on the data. We will be also looking to log the training details on weights and biases. Also, looking to see how that goes. So that's where we are. So we have done the algorithm, we have pushed it to Ocean. Now the next step is to get Alonso to approve the algorithm to do computation on his data set. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a great description. Yeah, so we're getting closer, basically. I'm chatting to Alonso again tomorrow. So I think we originally said the end of Feb. It's probably going to go on for another week or two, I would say. But yeah, it's great that the work is, we're trying out some new stuff, and yeah, I think we're on track to get it working, but just it'll be about a week late or something like that.
Check out the link that you sent in, Archie, as well.
Yeah, basically, I'm quite new to this space, investment and all. But I was there for their course. They are running a course on Web3 fundamentals. So one of the presenter was this person called Tushar Bale. Apparently, they are looking to fund Web3. Yeah, so probably could be useful.
Yeah, we'll definitely have a look and get in contact if they're relevant for us. Okay, so I think we need to end the call for the camera to, or the thing to work in the Gather.town. So maybe we should wrap up here, and then I sent a link into the chat to see if it's if it works for people, and if it doesn't, then it's okay. Then we can test again later on. Does that make sense?
Cool. Yeah, let's try that.
Cool. Yeah, let's try it. Okay, and just make sure to click on the link before we end the call.
Oh, yeah, nice. I'm a little bit messed up. Yeah. Okay, cool. Got it. Has everyone got it before I end it?
Yeah, I have it. Cool. Okay, let's finish this call up then.